All right, what's up, guys? Vivi back with another video. And in today's video, guys, we're going to be doing a comprehensive deck builder's guide, a deep dive into ST-13's Black Yellow Luffy. I've heard it called Bumblebee Luffy. I've heard Taxi Cab Luffy, and I'm sure there's a few others. If you guys call it something else, you know, please tell me down in the comment section below. I love hearing all the different interesting, witty names. You know, that's how we got Lakers Croc, right? People came up with cool new nicknames for these leaders based on their color combination. It's always fun to see that stuff. All right, anyway, so we're going to be doing an absolute deep dive into this leader today, guys. So one thing I do want to mention is it will be a little more focused towards OP-07 because at the time of me recording this video, this Friday coming up, OP-07 will be totally live, totally legal for us over here in the West. We will talk about OP-08, but to a lesser extent, and I will say not much has changed in OP-08 when it comes to this leader, but we will still at least talk about it. Okay, so with that in mind, let me give you a quick breakdown of how this video is going to go. First up, we'll check out the Bandai One Piece TCG YouTube channel. They did come out with a few, they came out with a video today that has a few announcements in it that we'll talk about. Some stuff we already know, nothing too crazy, but we'll at least go over that. Then we will check out OnePieceTopDecks.com and look at a bunch of different Black Yellow Luffy lists, because there are a lot of them, guys. There are quite a few of them. We'll check those out and see what cards, you know, most of the list, I will say this right up front, guys, most of the list seems to be figured out, but there's a few cards that come in and out. You know, it's probably player preference, but we'll at least talk about them. Okay, then we're going to go over to the article section of OnePieceTopDecks.com, which is something I don't do very often. But there was an article written by someone who went 14-1. Okay, 14-1 in three. Like, in other words, so they went to 3 different flagships. They went 5-0, they went 5-0, and then they went 4-1 in 3 different flagships with the same Black Yellow Luffy list. We're going to check out that article. I'm going to post it down in the comment section below for you to do like a full, you know, read through of your own if you want to. But we will glance over that article and talk a little bit about it. Then we will go over to the sim. Okay, then we'll go over to the sim. I've got 7 games lined up for us on the sim. And then we will check out the deck list. And then we'll finish out the, you know, I'll give my final thoughts on the deck and the direction of it from there. And then we'll finish off the whole video with a quick art critique. Okay, guys? So we have a lot on our plate today. We have a lot to get through. As usual, guys, I'll have all of this time stamped in the description of the video, and I'll have all the links needed and the deck list in the comment section. I'll have it pinned as the first comment. So you know what you're getting into, guys. You know what you're getting into. We got a lot to talk about today. Let's get into this. So before we talk about Luffy, let's go over to the One Piece YouTube channel real quick. And I'm going to fast forward through a little bit of this real quick for y'all. I just want to show you. There's only a few things that I want to talk about. I will link this for anyone who wants to watch the full thing and, you know, do a full translation. By all means, do that. So the first thing they want to talk about is this is coming out very soon. I think they said July 13th is when this is coming out in the East. So for us in the West, add 3 months to that, or add 3.5 months to that, and that's probably when we'll get it. Okay, so probably sometime around late October or early November should be around the time that we get our hands on the new starter decks coming out, starter decks 15 through 20. Okay, then from there, let me hit play. It shows a bunch of new cards there, a bunch of spoilers, and then of course we get a commercial, right? Of course we'll get a commercial. Let me skip this real quick. Okay, and let me just fast forward to one more thing I want to mention is there's 2 more things. PRB01, this is going to have a lot of interesting reprinted cards in here. Let's see if they show any. First of all, it shows like there's going to be totally different, what would you call this, like foils and full arts of these cards, right? So that's pretty crazy. Is it not on 2x speed? There we go. And they're going to be reprinting quite a few cards. Check this out, guys. Kuzan looks like he's going to be in there. 9-cost Kaido. Sanji's Pilaf. Alt-Art Sanji's Pilaf right here, guys. Check that out. That's pretty awesome. Otama, all kinds of cool stuff. And this is I believe this is going to be in the PRB set. I keep wanting to say PBR for like Pabst Blue Ribbon, but never mind. Okay, so that's going to be in here, the new Sanji. And check this out, guys. I don't know if I'm reading this correctly, and someone help me out in the comment section below, but it looks like there's going to be 3 different rarities for Dawn. Watch this. I'm going to hit play, and they're going to show it like in a special... Wait, where is it? Did they not show it on here? I don't know where it is now, guys. Okay, I missed it. But there was some kind of like different rarities of Dawn. OP-09 coming out in, it looks like August 31st over in the East. So again, add about 3.5 months to that, and that's probably when we'll see it in the West. So probably around December sometime. Okay. No exact dates, just saying. And it's got a bunch of other spoilers it talks about on here. A bunch of new card backs coming out. Pretty cool stuff. Now, man, I should have looked at this first before I decided the card I wanted to do for the art art critique today, because I absolutely love this Jewelry Bonnie style right here. Let me move my face so you guys can see it better. Look at this Jewelry Bonnie. The king looks incredible. Sanji's pretty cool. I'm actually not a huge fan of this like posture, this this composition, and the marker looks really good as well. Okay, let me put my face back on. Okay, and they talk about the 2-year anniversary. This is, I don't know if this sold out or not yet, but this is the 2nd anniversary set that I think I talked about this in yesterday's video or a previous video very recently. Black and gold, those are my colors, so of course this is something I'm gonna have to get. And check out these cards that came in it. Okay, these are cards that will be in it, alt art cards, really cool stuff. That Sabo looks incredible. All of these cards look incredible, to be honest. Then it's talking about these are the new winner or championship cards, I believe. Like I think they're serialized. Yeah, you can see the 1200 at the top left. So these are serialized new championship cards coming out. Bunch of random stuff in here. We're not going to go over all of it. If you want to go over all of it, look at that cool Sanji. Is that like a sleeve or something? Really cool Sanji art going on over there. But if you want to watch the whole video, I will link this down in the comment section below. The main stuff I wanted to talk about was what we saw in the beginning of the video. This is more for the championship stuff. There's the winner Katakuri, looks incredible. The winner Tinlin looks awesome. And yeah, okay, that's about it, guys. Like I said, if you want to watch the whole video, I will link in the comment section below. Now, going back to Black Yellow Luffy. Let me read what the leader does, guys, because we're about to dive into a bunch of different deck lists, but I'm going to read what the leader does because that's just how we have to do it at first. So that way everyone understands what it does. This is a 5,000 power, 4-life leader, but check this out. By the rules, your face-up life cards will be sent to the bottom of your deck instead of to your hand. So in other words, if there's an effect that says add a card from the top of your life to your hand, it will not happen. It will go straight to the bottom of your deck instead. You don't get the option. So in other words, if your life is face up and they attack into you, it goes to the bottom of your deck. It doesn't go to your hand. Okay. Then here's the reason why. Look at the main effect of this card. Dawn ×2, so attached to Dawn, and it's activate main once per turn. It's not when attacking. It is attached to Dawn and then activate on your main once per turn. Excuse me. You may discard 1 card from your hand, and if your life is at 0, you may add up to 2 cards with 5-cost characters from your hand or trash to your life face up. Okay, so you're going to add 2 5-cost characters from your hand or trash face up. So in other words, yes, you do generate 2 life, but the idea is you're going to lose that life if they attack into you. Now, the reason it's like that is it's meant to be comboed with these little 2-cost characters like Ace that cheat these cards into play. Like, for example, this 5-cost Ace, if you put it into your life with your leader's effect when you have 0 life, then you can play it with this card from your life. All of them say the same thing. There's Ace, Sabo, and Luffy, the 3 brothers. Each one says the same thing for their respective card type, right? Or their respective card name. So this one says you may trash this character, look at the top card of your life, and if the card is a 5-cost Ace card, you may play it. And if you play it, up to one of your leaders gets plus 2,000 power to the end of your opponent's next turn. So you see what's going on. You're cheating these cards into your life with the leader's effect, and then you're playing them out of your life, cheating them out of your life with these 2-cost characters effect, which is also in turn buffing your leader. So that is the main theme of the deck. We will go into way more detail in a minute, but just understand that's how the deck works for anyone who is new to this deck type. That is the whole idea behind this deck, and anytime you can get recurring value from these cards, because remember, you're trashing the 2-cost cards in order to get their effect off. Well, Gecko Moria, remember how the effect works. It's not choose a 4-cost. It's choose up to 1 character that costs 4 or less, and up to 1 character that costs 2 or less. So this effect gets around the color, and it gets around it being a 2-cost and a 2-cost. It doesn't care. You just need a 4-cost or less and a 2-cost or less. So a card like this can bring the little guys back into play, and as long as you have a card to trash from your hand every turn, and the 5-cost cards in your trash or hand, you can keep doing this effect every single turn as long as you're at 0 life. So that's a big part of this deck. Now, real quick before we dive into any particular list, let's look at the results from OP-07 from the East. Now, understand The biggest tournament we saw during the OP-07 time period for the East, the biggest tournament we saw is this Bandai 2100 player 3-on-3 tournament. There was no large-scale 1-versus-1 tournament, period. It didn't happen. There wasn't one. I don't know why. That's just how they decided to do it. Now, there were still some relatively large tournaments, okay? Like, for example, a 178-player tournament, this deck got first place. Of course, we're going to check that one out. 130-player tournament, now this one's 5-on-5. We're not gonna go over that. Sorry, guys. 64-player tournaments, first place, second place. 70-player tournament, first place, 70, 78. These are very, very good results, right? So let's look at this one first. Where did it go? The 178-player. This is the list we're going to look at first here, and we'll move on from here. I'm going to break down. Okay, this is a very interesting list. So let me read through it, and then we'll talk about it. So 4 Hiyori's, 4 Sabo, 4 Makino, 4 Garp, 4 Luffy, 4 of the 2-cost Luffy, 4 of the 5-cost Luffy, and it's running 3 of the other 5-cost Luffy. Okay, guys, this is the new OP-07 Luffy that we're finally going to get our hands on over here in the West. Then it's running 4 Flampe, 3 Kuzan, 3 of the 10-cost Kuzan, 4 of the 4-cost Kuzan, 4 Sabos, 4 Gecko Moria, and 4 Three Brothers Bond, the Searcher event. So let me break this down very simply, real quickly for you guys. This list is running 12 2K counters, and all of them can take cards from your life. Hiyori, most people probably know what this card does, right? But if not, pause it and read it. This is going to allow you to take a card from your life. Makino, add the top or bottom card from your life to your hand and then arrange what's left. Flampe, add the top card of your life to your hand and draw a card. Now, understand right now, guys, if you have a card in your life that is face up, okay? If you have a card in your life that is face up and you play out Flampe, you will not draw the card, and you will not draw the card from the effect. Like, you won't draw the card from life, and you won't draw the card from the effect. You're not able to satisfy this request to add the card from the top or bottom of your life to your hand. It ends up going to the bottom of your deck, so it ends up negating the effect. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that, if they've done some kind of stipulation of the rules, but that is how it is currently, guys. If they plan on eroding that in the future, that's different. And I know the text on these is a little wonky, guys. Bear with me, but you can't do it. Now you can still use the effect. You can still use Flampe to get rid of that top card from your life, per the leader's effect. You can still do that. But if the card is not turned face down, you're not going to be able to draw it to your hand or draw the card for the turn. You see what I'm saying? From the Flampe's effect. Same thing with Makino. Of course, if you only have one card left in your life and it's face up, and you go to use this effect, it's not going to your hand, it's going to the bottom. Same thing here. If the card's face up, you're not going to get to add it to your hand. Just understand that right away, but it doesn't matter. These 2K counters are still absolutely vital. They are of utmost importance at making your leader go down to 0 life so that you can use this leader's effect. Because good opponents will not attack you. And what do you do when your opponent's building an extremely tall and wide board? Like wide and tall, like the best of both worlds. Not only are they dropping huge characters, but they're also going very wide with them. And they're not attacking your life. What do you do now? Well, what you have to do is start taking your life with other cards like Hiyori, Makino, Flampe, and another card we see on here, Sabo. Many decks actually were getting away from Sabo. A lot of decks were moving away from Sabo in OP-07 and just going, since they got Monkey D. Luffy. However, what this list is doing, and this is actually a very interesting list I have not seen yet. This list is completely, just completely getting away from Ace. They're saying we don't want the 2-cost Ace. We don't want the 5-cost Ace. We just want the Sabos, we just want the Luffys, and we're going to be good from there. It's running all the 2K counters it needs. It's running the Garp Searcher at 4 of, the Three Brothers Bond Event Searcher at 4 of, and of course it's running 4 Gecko Moria to keep the effect recurring with the little guys. Okay, now with Kuzans here, this is very, very unique. I have not seen this before, but hey, this guy did get, in a 178-player flagship in Thailand, this guy got first place with this list. Okay. And I will link the OnePieceTopDecks.com website down in the comment section below for you to look up this list if you want to. Going the 4 Kuzans is interesting because, number one, it does draw you a card. And if they're not going to attack into you, okay, fine. Don't attack into me. I'll start playing out characters that are relevant. Because Kuzan, think about what this does. Luffy, Luffy can only hit a 4-cost or lower character, and a Sabo can only hit a 5-cost or lower character. Now, by the way, look at what the stipulations are. For Sabo's effect, you have to trash a card from your life to even use this effect. For Luffy, the new one from OP-07, you have to have 2 or less life to KO a 4 or less. Now, the trigger can KO a 4 or less, period. But then this card goes to the trash, right? You don't establish it. But the activate main can KO a 2 or less. Excuse me, a 4 or less if you have 2 or less life. And then it draws a card too, though, so that's really strong for the activate main. This card we are going to talk about because it does show up in the article we're going to be looking at in a little bit. This is a very, very interesting card, guys. It does not have a counter, but remember what's going on with this deck. They're not attacking your life because they're too scared to. They don't want to give you any reason or any logical way to turn on your leader's effect. They're trying to prevent you from turning your leader's effect on because it's that powerful in this deck. Because think about it, guys. We'll see in the games we play today. But imagine what happens if you are at 0 life, you attach 2 Dawn to your leader, and then grab, like, let's just say you grab this Luffy from your trash and grab this Sabo from your trash, and you put the Luffy in there at the top of your life, by the way, and then you cheat it into play with one of these 2-cost Luffys, and KO one of their characters, and then cheat into play a Sabo, and now you have a blocker. You get to draw 2, trash 2. Your characters cannot be KO'd for the turn, and your leader just gained 4,000 power from the 2-cost character's effect. You're a 9,000 power leader with a 6k blocker that cannot be KO'd. Very, very strong, guys. There's a reason this is considered an S-tier deck by most people, if not everyone. Okay, and that's the entire list, what I just said there, guys. That's the entire list, and most lists that we look at are going to be pretty much identical outside of these Kuzans. The Kuzans are very interesting. The Kuzans are very, very interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the first place list. That was in a 3-on-3 tournament, but it was 2,100 players, big, however you say that. It had 2,100 players in it. So check this list out, guys. A little bit different. It's actually very similar, right? It's still got the Hioris. It's got the Sabos. I'll come back to Ivankov. This one is running the Aces instead of any of the Kuzans. It's not running any of the Kuzan stuff. Instead, it's going back to the Aces. And this is a little more traditional from what we've seen with Black Yellow Luffy. We're very used to seeing this. Okay? Then everything else is identical. We've already seen all of these other cards in here. Every single other card is what we've seen, except Ivankov. Some decks are running Ivankov. Because remember what I said, sometimes your opponent just won't attack you. They don't want to turn your leader effect on or allow you to turn your leader effect on unless it's at the cost of wasting all of your 2k counters. Well, look at what Ivankov does. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1k counter blocker. 4,000 power is relevant, by the way, because of red-purple law. It tries to bottom deck a 3,000 power or less. So if they want to get rid of this annoying 4k blocker, they have to waste a Gordon or an Otama or a Trafalgar Law, the promo law, whatever you want to call it. But look what the on-play effect is. You may trash the top or bottom card of your life. That gets around your leader's effect, by the way. If you have a card face up on top of your life and you use this effect, it trashes the card instead of trying to add it to your hand. So even by the rules with this card's special ruling, no problem, it goes straight to your garbage. Same idea with this Luffy. Make sure you pause and read this Luffy. This Luffy right here, it gains 2,000 power until the start of your turn. Then if you have 1 or more life, draw 1 card and trash the top card of your life. You'll trash the top card of your life. Very important. Okay? Now, anyway, back to Ivankov, though. So you're going to trash the top card of your life with this character's effect, the top or bottom card of your life. Then reveal 1 cost 5 character card from your hand and place it face down on top of your life. So you'll be able to put it face down. I mean, you're probably going to use this to cheat the card out with something like, with one of the 2-cost smaller characters. But the point is, you're setting it, and you're getting a blocker, and now you can cheat into play with your 2-cost guys and go up to 7,000 power for the turn, attack, and get aggressive in that way, while establishing a blocker. So really good stuff here. Everything else, though, is pretty similar, okay? We'll look at one more list from OP-07 from the East, okay? And then we'll move on to OP-08 and see what kind of direction the list is going. Let's get a first place out of 60. Actually, here we go. Here's a shop championship, I think. Shop CS means, I think it means shop championship. 70 players, first place. We'll look at this one. Now, this is the most, this is one of the earlier lists that we've seen so far. But as you'll see, this one is pretty much identical to the last list. But instead of running the Ivankovs, They're just running more of each of the brothers. Okay, that's the only difference. Everything else is the exact same. You have your 12 2K counter package. I've seen some people go down to 10. This one actually has 11, but you're running anywhere from 10 to 12 2K counters, and it's always Hiyori and Makino and Flampe. And then you always have the little brothers that can evolve into the bigger brothers from life. And then you have your searcher package with Garp and the event, and then Gecko Moria brings the whole thing together. That's it, guys. Like, that's the entire deck. Now, let's check this out. Let's go over to the East real quick before we check out the article. Okay, so here is a top 8 from Fukuoka. Fukuoka? I don't know how to say that, guys. I'm struggling. So however you say that. This is the list. Do you guys notice anything? It's pretty much identical to the other Ivankov list that we saw. It's just completely the exact same list. Or you know, there might be a few changes here and there in the numbers of cards, but this one's only running one Makino. But this list is just, it's all the same. It's got your Geckos, it's got your Garp and Event Searcher, it's got all your 2-cost and 5-cost guys, and there you go. So even going into OP-08, the list remains pretty much identical. We'll look at a few other ones. Here is a first place with a 3-on-3 at a 500-player tournament. And a 3-on-3 at a 500-player tournament. That's what I meant to say. And this one's in Singapore. Much easier name for me to say. Now, this one is messing around with the Kuzans, and check this out. Here's another tech card to talk about in Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt, first of all, the trigger's great, right? Pop a fiberless. But if you need to lose a card, or excuse me, a life, this card is very good at doing that because it trashes the top card of your life. It's not going to force it to the bottom of the deck like other effects might, you know, cause it to do, or like other effects. How do I say this? Because of your leader effect. It's trashing it. It's not trying to add it to your life, which would bottom deck it. It's just trashing it, okay? It's running the Makino, Flampe, and Makino, or excuse me, the Hiyori, Flampe, and Makino, so 10 2K counters, and then it's running both of the Luffys. It's only running one. It's running the black version of Sabo. The only one ace, by the way, only a single ace card. But then it's running 4 Kuzans, and it's only running 2 of the Brothers Bond. So you'll see like very small differences in each one of these, but they're all pretty much the same. They're all relatively the same. Now, and that's OP-08 we just saw, guys. That was in OP-08, the Fukuoka Championship. It was a regional 500-plus player tournament. This was in Japan literally 2 days ago at the time you're recording this video. Okay, because it is May 25th right now at the time you're recording. This was reported on May 23rd. Okay, now, let's look at this, and I will link this in the comments section below. This person here, his name is, hi, it's Enigma. He is a Malaysian player that plays Black Yellow Luffy, and he won 2 straight flagships, and he lost in the finals of the 3rd one. So he almost had the hat trick, right? He almost had the full-on, 3 tournaments, 3 wins hat trick for OP-07 for Black Yellow Luffy. This is the list we're going to look at in a second. I'm going to bring it up full screen. But check this out, guys. He beat 3 Red Purple Laws, a Black Yellow Luffy, a Moria. He beat a Black Yellow Luffy, Red Purple Law, Lucci. So two Laws, excuse me. 1 Lucci and a Boa Hancock. And then in the final tournament, he beat double Black Yellow Luffy, double Bonnie, and finally lost to a Red Purple Law. That's an incredible run by this guy. And like I said, if you want to read the whole thing, this guy has a full breakdown, by the way, guys. Check this out. Black Yellow Luffy position in OP-07. He talks about, where it is, the strengths that he has and some of the cons. Actually, let me see this one. Black Yellow Luffy's strengths can be broken down into this. He talks about it. Then look at this matchup. He says he thinks that Red Purple Law in OP-07. Let me go full screen. Red Purple Law is a 50-50, he said. Lucci and Moria is 75-25 favored for Black Yellow Luffy. So in other words, you're going to win 3 out of 4 times against these decks. If you're playing properly, of course. Enel is 50-50 depending on the build. Bonnie is a 30-70 unfavored. So that's like the one really unfortunate matchup to look out for. And then Perona, 50-50, he's saying. He doesn't have Boa or Doflamingo on here, but I'm assuming those are probably close to 50-50, if not 40-60, slightly favored for the Boa, because blue does hurt quite a bit. Okay, and then he breaks down all of this stuff. We're not going to go through all this, guys. We're not going to go through all this. If you want to read all of it, including the matchups, how to deal with Red Purple Law, how to deal with the Mirror, how to deal with Lucci, Enel. Look at this, guys. He has everything laid out. I'm going to link this for you in the comment section below for y'all to check it out and do a full read of this. Now, let's look at his list real quick. Very, very interesting list. Excuse me. So he has kind of taken the best of both worlds, remember we saw it looks very identical, but look, he's combining having the Emporio Ivankov and the Kuzan and the Thunderbolt. So he kind of, how do I say this? He went down the aces. He went down to 2 aces. He went down to 1 of the 2-cost aces. So 2 of the 5-cost ace and 1 of the 2-cost ace. And I guess for that sacrifice, he went up 2 Ivankovs and up 2 Kuzans. Because he probably, I think most decks probably run, let me see one more thing too. He's running all 8 of the Searcher still, and he's only running 10 of the 2K counters. So most deck lists run everything you see here, but instead of running only 2 and 1 for the ace package, I think most of them ran like 4 and 4, or even 3 and 3. Well, that clears up quite a bit of spots for you to put in things like Thunderbolt, Kuzans, and the Ivankov. Because if they were running them at, think about if they were running at 3 of the little aces and 4 of the big aces, well, that's 4 cards that open up. So there's your 2 Ivankovs and your 2 Thunderbolts, and he's only running 12, or excuse me, 10 out of 12 2K counters. So that clears up the 2 spots for Kuzan. And I have read the full breakdown of that Black Yellow Luffy guide, guys, and it is, Kuzan is very important going into the decks that have like the really big characters like green and like yellow. If you don't have the Kuzan, it becomes very hard to deal with something like a 9-cost Yamato, or how's about this, guys, a 9-cost Zoro. That is a nightmare situation for Black Yellow Luffy. But Kuzan says, okay, I'm just going to play my Kuzan out on curve, right? And then when they play out their, their 9-cost Zoro, assuming, I don't know, I guess they could have gotten out before you, but let's just say you were able to survive because you probably had full life because they won't attack you. No problem. You play out your Kuzan, and then you can pop their 9-cost Zoro with something like this Luffy, right? Or with the Thunderbolts, right? Very, very interesting stuff there. But yeah, other than that, I guess I will run through the list. It's 4 Hiyori's, 2 Ivankov, 4 Sabo, the 2-cost, 1 of the 2-cost ace, 2 of the 5-cost ace, 2 Makino, 4 Garp, 4 Luffy, 4 of the Pump Luffy, 4 of Flampe, 3 of the Rocket Boots KO Luffy, 2 Kuzans, the 10-cost Kuzan, 4 of the Sabos, the Black Sabo, 4 Gecko Moria, 2 Thunderbolts, and 4 Three Brothers Bond the Searcher. And like I said, guys, or like we saw in that, where did it go? Do I have to hit back? There we go. Like we saw in this article here, this won 2 straight flagships, beating tons of Red Purple Law players, you know, Lucci players, Moria players, Boa Hancocks, Bonnies, you name it. And it finally lost to probably a very, very strong Red Purple Law player in the 3rd flagship finals. So he just kept winning. He was 14-0. He was 1 win away from getting the hat trick, and then a Red Purple Law got him in the end. Really cool stuff here. Okay, that's enough. Now, let's move on to some games on the sim. I have 7 games lined up for us today on the sim. Like I said, guys, I wanted to do a deep dive into this leader. This is one of my favorite color combinations, so I wanted to do this leader right. I wanted to do him justice, right? So, now, I didn't get the best matchups. I wish I could have gotten a few better matchups, but hey, it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. We know that this leader can compete. And if you have any comments or questions, please do not hesitate to put them down in the comment section below. I'm usually pretty quick to answering those. All right, here we go, guys. First game is against Lucci. This is at least a decent matchup here. And I'm mainly going to try to walk you guys through my thought process into my decisions on how to play this leader. Okay, there we go. We're doing the little thing where the mouse is going crazy. All right, turn 1, Garp. That's very, very standard play, right? There's nothing too special about that. You should be doing that. Use your searchers as early on as you can to set your hand early on. Now, one thing about setting your hand is you want to make sure you have, I am going to pause, guys, especially in the first game, you want to make sure you have one of each of your big guys and one of each of your little guys. Sabo always takes priority, and then like the KO Luffy and the Pump Luffy, and then Ace if you decide to even run Ace, okay? All right, so here we go. I'm just going to attack. I'm going to swing 5 and then 6. That's the game plan. I want to put pressure on my opponent early, and if he attacks into me, that's a good thing. Now, depending on your locals, depending on how good players are, some players are going to be more disciplined and they're not going to attack into you. And that's where having a card like Ivankov is so very important. I'm going to swing 6 in the leader to get around the Sabo or force him to use a card, and he ended up taking it. And I play out the Luffy, using the effect to trash the top card of my life and draw a card. I need to get down life. I need to go down in life right here so I can turn on my leader's effect. If he attacks into me this turn, then I have a very straightforward line of play here where I need to gain 2 life and buff my leader. Notice I don't have Sabo yet, by the way, guys. That is starting to concern me because this is a Lucci list. He can just pop any of my characters here. If I could have played out a Sabo instead of this Pump Luffy, I probably would have, but it really depends on what's in my hand. But generally speaking, Sabo is the card to get down first, to start cycling through, use up blocks accordingly, and all that good stuff. So good news, even though I trashed a Gecko Moria from the top of my life, I did just get another one from my life. So that is good. Gecko Moria is like the finishing piece in this deck. Okay, he left me at 1 life, and I still have my Luffy accessible where I can use that effect and start gaining life. So I need to do things in a very specific order here. So let me pause this. There are 2 situations you're going to find yourself in. Number 1 is the dire situation where you have zero life, okay? If you have 0 life, you just need to gain 2 life and then gain 4,000 power by using 2 small characters and go up to 9,000 power. Do you see what I'm saying? And then you're going to get 2 bodies on the board and do what you have to from there. But then there's the situation, okay? Then there's the situation where you have 1 life left. This is kind of ideal, to be honest, because now I'm going to be able to turn that card into a power boost for the turn, use my leader's effect to get 2 more cards on my life, and generate 1 more, potentially. I don't know if I'll be able to in this situation, but leaving 1 life left in your life area is ideal, but it's not always possible. So Hiyori, I'm going to take a card, put it in there. It's Luffy. I'm going to use this Luffy here, pop the blocker. Now, right here, I do have a small mistake. What I should have done in this situation is buffed my Luffy first to 8,000 and then attach 2 Dawn to my leader, use the leader's effect. I'm trashing one of my Luffys here. It doesn't really matter which one because I'm going to put double Luffy into my life. And then I'm going to use this. I'm going to pop that card, and now I'm going to swing. See, I should have swung for 8 right there, and yes, it is relevant. It is because, look, he 2K countered out of that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to. And then I swing for 11 at lead. I have 1 life left, and I'm at 9,000 power. All of that is important because now he can't just go all in and swing for 15 at me and win the game. He can't do that because I have 1 life, and I'll just let that life go. I don't even care because I have another one in my trash. And I still don't have a Sabo, guys. Like this is absolutely infuriating, right? Because Sabo is a big deal if you're trying to win the game, which I assume everyone here is trying to win the game, right? Okay, because look, he wouldn't be able to just KO this character like that either. You know, he would have had to swing into it or something, or else I wouldn't let it go if I had the Sabo effect. Okay, so he's going to play out Lucci. He's going to pop both cards on my board. I'm not super worried about it. He can't swing at my face now at all because I'm at 9,000 power. He is still going to swing to feed his trash 2 cards. That was a good play. Okay, now, what do? I have 10 Dawn. I can play out Gecko Moria here, but I don't really have, you know, the greatest targets in my trash. I only have double Luffy. So right here, I'm going to have to use one of them. Let me make sure I trash this one, play this out, pop that card, draw a card from the Luffy's effect. Now I'm going to fill 2 cards into my trash. I'm going to trash a card. I only have Luffy's, like I said, and that's all I could have gotten back anyway with my Gecko Moria. It's so infuriating. So we're going to play this out. I'm playing, instead of playing out the pop Luffy, I have nothing important to pop. He's not swinging into a 9,000 power leader with this 1 cost and 2 cost card. So I don't need the popper Luffy. That's actually just a life card that is, how do I say it? That's just a buffer. So in case he tries to go like 13 and 13 this turn, I just have to counter out of one of them and I can get the other one out of the way. Okay, so now we're in the situation where he wants to get rid of my Gecko Moria. That is... yeah, that would be ideal for him. Let's see if he can pull it off. I do have it on 2x speed, right, guys? Let me make sure. Yeah, we are on 2x speed. I got to make sure because we have a lot of games to get through today. We got 7 games lined up. Okay. And as usual, guys, I will have all this time stamped down in the comment section below. So he's giving it a good think right now. He's going to swing for 5 to do -1 to my Luffy. He used the stage to do another -2 to my, or I think he did 2 stages or something there to do minus. I'm on -5 for my Gecko right now. Now he's at a 0. He's going to play out he's going to play out the Gecko Moria, play out another Helmeppa plus Lucci combo, pop both cards off my board, and I'm feeling pretty terrible right now. I'm feeling pretty awful. This is not ideal. He can still swing 9 for the turn. He decides not to. He should have, though it won't really matter here. Okay, so right here I'm doing a top 5 search. I'm just desperately searching for Sabo. That's what's going on currently. I am just desperately searching for a Sabo. I finally get one. After how many searches? I think I did 3 or 4 searches this game. I finally get a Sabo. Now I can Thunderbolt a card. I Thunderbolt his blocker off the board. I'm going to use my leader effect. I'm going to trash a card. I believe I'm going to put one in here. Let me see. I go ahead and trash the ace. Now watch this. I'm going to use my ace to cheat him out. and then I'm going to swing 7 into face. If he can't block this, it's pretty much over. Okay, so he is able to block it. Now we're going to use a Sabo. I'm going to trash the Kuzan. I don't need the Kuzan versus Lucci. And I'm going to swing 11 at face. There's no way he's blocking out of that. I mean, he'd had to use every card in his hand to block out of that. And now it's his turn. I am very vulnerable right now because I have no life. However, he swings for 13. I'm not too worried about that number. I can counter out of that, and now I still have my blocker. And he can only swing at me. Realistically, he can only swing maybe 2 more times. Okay, swing for 10. That's a 2K counter. Okay. And now this last one, I'm going to have to use my blocker on, but it doesn't matter now. Okay, I have to use my blocker, and now it's game over. I just load up 15, swing at face, you know, load up for 17, swing at face. If he can somehow get out of this, it would be incredible. Let me pause for a second. So he had he had 7 cards in hand. If they were all 2K counters, it would put him at 19K, and then I could have swung for 5 to finish off. But that's if every single one of the cards was a 2K counter. Okay, well that was versus Lucci. Next one here is against Enel. All right, full screen, everything's set up. Enel can be a nuisance. Enel is typically and so is Black Yellow Luffy. What I'm about to say actually applies to both Enel and, let me 2x speed it, sorry guys. It applies to Luffy and Enel, but they're kind of knowledge checks in the game. I think good players can play around Black Yellow Luffy to some extent, even with the cards that are added so that you can't. But generally speaking, it's kind of more of a skill check. Okay, so Enel here just swings at me. I don't understand the idea there because I want to lose life anyway. I'm going to take that. My only option is to grab the ace there. It was the Searcher. The Searcher activates the main on trigger. I'm going to swing for 5. And guys, like this guy is trying to just, I guess he doesn't want to play against me, might be the logic here. But I'm like, okay, whatever the case is, I'm just going to try and play correctly here. And I am going to do my... You know, I'm going to try to go down to 0 life. That's where I want to be at, right? That's where I want to be at. I've got 2 Sabos in hand. I'm not worried at all. I feel like I'm at no risk of losing this game. 7 into 8. I could defend out of this, but I don't know. I don't think it's wise to. I think I should just let it go. I don't remember what I do. Okay. It looks like I was going to say there's no reason to save that card. I mean, maybe there's some reason to do it, but I don't know. I really don't think I should have. And I didn't. All right, right here, this is kind of a turn where I have 2 options, 2 big options here. What I can do is play out a Sabo and smash into one of his characters. Luffy always goes face, but swinging 1 attack into Enel makes no sense. Why would you ever do that? There's no reason to do that because he'll just get the life back, cycle through, get a potential trigger. It's not the play. However, in this situation, I have two other options. I can play out the Sabo and smash into his Gadatsu, or what I can do is I have 8 on this turn. So I can set my top life card as a Sabo, play out the Sabo from my hand, use it, do my cycling as needed, and then attach 2 Dawn to my leader, and then put 2 5-cost characters into my life and cheat out another one with one of the other 2-cost cards in my hand, and that will leave me at 9,000 power for the turn for my leader and an extra life card. And that is what I should do here. I don't remember what I do, though. Okay, I just play out the Sabo. I don't think that was the right play. I'm just being honest with you guys. Sometimes I record these videos and I see the right play afterwards because, you know, when you're in the moment, sometimes it's hard to see it. And as you play more and more, you get more experience. You guys know what I'm saying. And I would have swung for 9,000 into that Gadatsu. There would have been no way for him to survive that. Okay, but that play does still work. That play, what we did right there, that play does still work. Why did I swing 8? Oh, because I used an event. Sorry, guys. The event was a little bit greedy, but I am trying to set up for next turn because I could potentially use Gecko Moria if needed. All right, now that's unfortunate. If I take this, it goes to the bottom of my deck, which I'm fine with. He's going to swing. Actually, he might not. He was thinking about swinging, but I don't think he is. He does, so I'm going to take it because it's like if you swing 7, I'll just counter out of this, and now my leader effect is turned on. Now, I think it's another mistake here. I think it's another mistake depending on what's in my trash. Well, no, I guess I can trash the... Okay, it was a mistake. I'm sorry, guys. It absolutely was a mistake. I should have been countering out with the little guys in this specific situation. Sometimes you shouldn't, but sometimes you should. But if I can get these little guys into my trash, then I'm going to be able to use my Gecko Moria and establish more tempo that way. But you could still, you know, there's always more than one way to do things. And in this situation, I would consider it an inaccuracy if you're using, like, chess terms. So I'm going to use my leader effect here. I'm going to trash a card, I believe. Yep, I trash out the Luffy. And then I'm going to play out the... I got to do it in the correct order. Yeah, even that... Well, no, okay. I can't pop any of his characters on the board, so that's fine. Play out the Luffy. Play out the Sabo. I'm going up here. I'm going to trash some cards from hand. I'm just going to probably trash the Garp. I don't have time for searching anymore. That time is pretty much past. Once you're at the 9 or 10 Dawn turns, even 8, I would even say like 7 or 8 Dawn turns, the time for searching is over. Like, you should have done everything you could have in the beginning of the game, and now you're in the late game. He plays out ace and passes. He wants to establish a wide board. This guy's playing very well. He's playing very smart. But we should be able to play around this pretty easily. Okay, so right here, I'm going to use the Luffy's effect first, so that way I can swing for 8,000 this turn. I'm going to play out the Garp, because I think what I'm going to try to do here is get to 1 life left, just in case I can't block all these attacks. I think that's what I'm going for here. I could be wrong. Okay, trash a Sabo. Now I have a Sabo. I'll play that out, and the other Luffy. Play out the Sabo. I'm at 9,000 power now, and I have 2 blockers that cannot be KO'd. My opponent cannot be feeling good about this situation. This is one of the situations as well where it's kind of smart to just let him go, which I did. Notice I didn't swing. Okay, he's going to swing for 14. Sure, give you a blocker, because now that's coming back next turn with my Gecko Moria. This guy's about to be in the death loop here, guys. This is not where you want to be against Luffy. I can tell you that much right now. Because watch what happens now. Oh, I have 2 blockers in my trash, and this is why blue counters. Sorry, guys, I know I'm a little all over the place. Blue counters Black Yellow Luffy because it bottom decks your cards. Well, if you're going to just keep putting him in the trash, guess what? I'm going to bring back 2 blockers that cannot be KO'd every single turn, while also establishing these big boys. Okay, Sabo, draw 2, trash 2. I'm just going to get rid of 1K, so I have nothing but 2Ks in hand. Play out the Sabo, trash these 1Ks and the events. And now I can smash into face for 6, and he just gives up. I think what he realized is there's no getting out of this part right here, because this turn is going to be, okay, I swing for 6, he just takes it, right? And look at the trigger he gets, oh well. And then I'd swing for 8 with my other character, and if he takes that, then I swing for 11 with my leader and drop him down to 1 life or get tons of cards out of his hand. And then what happens when he goes to swing back? I'm at 9,000 power, so he can probably only swing twice, maybe 3 times if he swings really low, which I can easily counter out of. And then if you swing low, that is a nightmare situation. Because if you swing low, and like let's just say he swings for 9, 9, 10, or something like that, well, in that situation, I just counter out of every single one of them, and I don't use any of my blockers, and then I swing completely board wide. Do y'all see what's going on there? Okay. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section below. Next up, we got Garp. This is kind of more of a chill game, but it does show, I do want to show something, excuse me, when it comes to this, leader, it is important to know that because and this is spoken of in the article, if you read the article that I'm going to link in the comment section, he talks about the base power level of this deck is so high, all of the rogue decks pretty much can't compete. You know what I mean? And that is a good thing. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. I got to take a sip of water. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. So we're going against Black-Red Garp here, and like I said, because of the base power level of this deck, it's hard for rogue decks to be able to compete. This guy, did I hit pause? I was going to say, and I know I just put the speed on 2x, yeah. So this guy's trying to figure out, what do I do here? Now, he gets very unlucky. He attacks into my life, and I pop a 4 or less with the trigger, with the Luffy trigger. That is really good for me because I want that blocker out of my way anyway. And if anyone's wondering, wait, how did you KO a Borsalino? The effect is only on your opponent's turn. Okay, so since it was his turn and he attacked, the trigger, it's still on his turn, so I can pop it. I swing for 7 here. He's going to give me a 2K and a 1K, I guess, or maybe a 2K and a 2K. He's trying to decide. Some people take longer than others, guys. It is what it is. Let's see what he does here. I'm just waiting patiently for him to play the game, guys. I do apologize. And he gives me a Rosinante. All right. Now I'm going to play out Sabo. It's fine to play this card out on curve to draw 2, trash 2, get cards in your trash, cycle through, fix your hand. I would say that Sabo, the Dressrosa Black Sabo, and the 5-cost Luffy, the Pump Luffy, those are the 2 best cards to play out on curve because one of them fixes your hand, the other one fixes your life or starts chipping through your life. Okay. Now, I will say this guy has attacked me down to 2 life, which is very dangerous. And notice he stopped. He's not attacking anymore. He's more focused on developing his board. He couldn't attack that turn anyway. Well, I guess he could have. He could have swung for 5 and then swung through for 5 again with the Hina after I blocked with the Sabo, but still. Okay, so I play out another Sabo. I'm trying to fix my hand. I should just drop both the 5-cost cards at this point because next turn I'll be able to do whatever I want to with that Gecko Moria. So my opponent's in a lot of trouble here. I'm going to swing 9. I'm dropping him down to 1 life. I still have 2 life, guys. And guess what? If he chooses not to go at my life this turn, guess what I'm going to do? You better believe it. I'm going to draw 2 with Flampe, draw 2 more with Flampe, and just fill out that way. Swings for 5. I'm not scared here. Okay, now I do need to block out of like something like the Gecko Moria, but these 5K attacks are perfect. They're letting me lose my life here, but I play it a little safe here. I'm like, you know what? Let me play it a little safe to get this Sabo into my trash for my Gecko Moria effect. Then I can use up one of my my Sabos here. Right here, I'll go ahead and use another one because he still has 3 attacks, guys. He has 3 other attacks. Okay, potential attacks, I should say. Okay, so let's see what he does here. Swing with leader. He probably, and at this rate, I'm sure he's considering, like, maybe I should keep attacking because he actually gave me counter power there. Okay, now right here I need to take this one, and I do. Thunderbolt, pop your blocker, swing 9, use my Sabo. This is important that I use Sabo because I need that card in my trash in order to use my Gecko Moria's effect to its fullest potential. Okay, and now this is, guys, notice, try to work out what I'm about to do here. I'm going to tell you beforehand what I need to do here because this is how Black Yellow Luffy plays. You attach 2 Dawn to your leader and you pay 8 for Gecko Moria. That is where all of your Dawn is going for the turn. It's a full turn and it is a very powerful turn. I'm going to attach 2 Dawn to my leader. I'm going to trash a card from my hand so that I can fill up my life with 2 5-cost characters. Then I'm going to play out the Gecko Moria, bringing back the 2-cost characters that correspond with the 5-cost characters in my life. I know that's technical, but that is the nature of this deck. That is how this deck functions. Okay, so here we go. Attach 2 to leader. And here we go. I'm going to trash a card from hand. I'm just making sure I have what I need in my trash before I do this effect. Okay, so I'm going to trash this card, the ace from my hand, because I didn't have an ace in the trash. So now I can play the ace out. Now I can play the Sabo out. My leader's 9,000 power. I have 2 blockers that cannot be KO'd against a black deck, by the way. And then I have a 9,000 power leader. So I'm swinging for 7, and then I'm swinging for 11. He pretty much has to counter out of this, or he's probably dead meat, right? He's probably done for. So give me a 2K, give me a 1K, and now there's basically no possibility he counters out of this. His turn. Now you might be thinking, well, what if he hits you with a Rush Luffy here? Doesn't matter because I can get out of it, right? If he swings, so Rush Luffy costs 5, and you'll have 5 Dawn left. So it will be an 11,000 power attack, which I can 2K, 1K counter out of because I'm at 9,000 power. So he's probably just letting it set in at this point that the game's pretty much over. He has to develop blockers to stop my next attack. If he tries to swing all in on one character, I block out of it. He's in a checkmate situation. There is no way out of this. Swinging for 9, that's going to get met with a 1K attack unless I choose to play it safe and block with one of my Sabos here, which I don't, that's not what to do in this situation. Because remember, guys, Sabo is a 6K attacker, right? I can just turn it sideways for 6 or attach 1 Dawn and swing for 7. Okay, and that's what I'm going for. I'm going for game. Like, this next turn, I'm going for game. Yep, and he understands that. He's like, okay, since you didn't lose a single blocker, he only has a single blocker in hand, by the way, and I'd be able to pop that with my next Gecko Moria by bringing back a 4-cost card. He knows it's over. GG, next game. All right. Next up, guys, we got a game against Kaido. Sorry, guys, it's that time of the video where my mustache starts tickling my nose. Here we go. Purple Kaido. This is going to be a very strong deck very soon. Let me go 2x speed for us. But it's not there yet. I don't know if this is an OP-08 or not. I know the deck list I'm running is pretty much what we've already seen. I believe I'm running the list that won the 14, that went 14-1 for those 3 flagships. Okay, Kaido got a pretty good start, guys. He got an early Searcher. He got Onigashima. He's just ramping up here. And since I know his plan is to build the board, I'm going to be pretty aggressive into taking my own life cards this turn because I also want to play around his 4-cost Trafalgar Law, if possible. Okay, swing 7. I will take that. Thank you very much, because I do still want to lose all my life cards here. Nice. I top deck another Sabo. That's actually very, very nice in this situation. But what do I do? What do I do here? I have a few options. I think playing out the Sabo is the best call here, but establishing the Luffy to draw a card by popping his Hawkins is not bad either. Okay, so right here, I'm really torn. Playing out the Sabo was a good call as well, but I'm okay with him playing out a card that pops the board right here so that my Sabo can get into the trash and I replace it with a new one. Pops my Sabo just like we thought he would. He gains a Dawn back from Eustace Kid. He uses the Searcher, still have 5 Dawn. He could still lose plenty of Dawn and use his Onigashima Island. This guy has a lot of options. Swing for 5, yes please, I will take that. Right, we will absolutely take that. And I get Luffy, unfortunately no legal target to hit on the board. Plays out Queen. I'm assuming he's going to try to pop my last life here, or maybe not. It is the smart play is to not pop my last life here, because that would be very bad for him. But that's okay. We're going to draw. So, okay, I had 2 options there. I could have either drawn 2 with Flampe, which is what I chose to do, and that was only a 1 cost. You know, that was for only 1 Dawn, and I'm at 8 Dawn. Or I could have gone 2 cost Thunderbolt and popped his Eustace Kid here. Either one would have been fine, by the way, but drawing 2 is what I valued in this situation. Not sure if it was the right call or not, but that is what I chose. Okay, so I'm looking at what's in my trash, and now I'm going to trash a card accordingly, and I'm going to gain 2 life this turn. One's going to be a blocker, guaranteed. The other is going to be a Luffy in this situation, and then I'm going to play out the corresponding 2-cost characters, get them right into play. Don't forget to buff your Luffy, which I might do here. I can't remember. Swing for 12 at face. He's going to block it. I appreciate him blocking that because I need him to get those blockers off the board. I don't want him to have any blockers. Now, one thing about Black Yellow Luffy is now Kaido's leader effect is pretty much worthless, right? His leader effect doesn't do anything anymore. He loads up 6 and swings for 11. Perfect. Thank you very much. I will take that block every single time. I only have 1 Sabo in my trash, unfortunately, but that's okay. You know, 1 Sabo, the 2-cost Sabo. All right, so we're going to use the Luffy's effect first this time, do it the correct order. You know, correct sequencing is a big part of playing this leader, guys. It's very important. I'm going to put a Sabo in my life first, and then that is one thing I do want to mention, guys, when it comes to the sim. When you're choosing the cards to go into your life, the first card you choose will be your bottom card. Okay, and the second one you choose will be your top life card. So make sure you think about that when you're choosing the order correctly. Okay, now I'm going to play out the Gecko Moria, bringing back the Luffy, popping Black Maria, Sabo, draw 2, trash 2. Everything cannot be KO'd on my board now. I'm swinging for 8 with Luffy, and I'm about to swing for 11 with my leader. I have a 9K on the board now. I have that Luffy. He just gives up. This is something you'll actually notice quite often when you're playing this deck, because you actually get to a point in the game where I don't know if you can lose or not against certain decks, right? As long as you don't do something stupid, because you're at 9,000 base power, and if you have a Gecko Moria on the board and another one following up, that's pretty much a checkmate situation. Okay, next game. Another Kaido. We got a blue-purple Kaido this time. Make sure we're on 2x speed. And again, I'm sorry, guys, that these aren't like the absolute best matchups, but I will link stuff in the comment section below. There's an entire guide out on this that I'm going to be linking. You'll know how to deal with every single matchup, so just bear with me, guys. Bear with me. All right, so I'm going to start off as aggressive as I can. You play out the Garp turn 1. Turn 2, you swing for 5 with it, and swing for 5 with your leader. You're getting cards out of hand. You're dropping down their life, and let them do what they want. Now, right here, yes, some people might have said that, that's not the smartest thing to do against Blurple Kaido, because now they can ramp a Dawn off of attacking your Garp that's sideways. I agree. That is kind of a, there is something to be said about that, but at the same time, I'm just trying to fix my hand. One thing about Black Yellow Luffy is you're on your own strategy. You're playing your own game. I don't want to say it's like solitaire. It's not the same as like Nami or something like that. And no disrespect to Nami, you guys know I play that, but I know a lot of people feel like playing against Nami is like playing solitaire, where you're not really playing the game. But Black Yellow Luffy is very similar to that concept. And unfortunately, I lost a Gecko Moria there in that search. Did y'all see that, guys? That was less than ideal. But when it comes to Black Yellow Luffy, I'm just trying to do my own thing. I'm just trying to create my hand. I'm trying to craft my hand to the best of my ability, and then go from there. Like, I don't really care what my opponent's doing to some extent. There's a few things I'm going to try and play around. I have to still be conscious like conscientious of what my opponent is doing. But I can't, I'm on my own game plan. That's the best way to say it. I'm in my own world. That's kind of the best way to say it. Okay, so I'm going to swing 7 at face here. I'm just going aggressive. I'm like, dude, I don't really care what you play on the board. I'm just going to keep, coming at you here and just, playing out these big cards. Swing for 7, swing for 7. He's going to start losing cards from hand. And now, notice, I'm at 3 life. So I'm not even at jeopardy of losing this game, right? Okay, he gives me a 2K right there. I'm going to play out the Luffy. Now, I'm not going to use the Luffy's effect in this situation because of the current board state. Okay, right here, I do decide to lose both of these Sabos because I need them in the trash. I need him to attack my life. Thank you very much. Top 5 searcher from the trigger. We'll take it every time. He's going to pop my Luffy. And I'm just not concerned. You know what I mean? I'm just really not concerned. Now, I don't have any 2K counters in hand, which is really unfortunate. But here we go. No Gecko Moria, by the way. No Gecko Moria, but you got to do what you got to do. Now, this is another situation. This is another situation where I need to actually go to 1 life left in my, how do I say this? I need to make it where I have 1 life left. And that's very easy to do by playing out my Hiyori. Play out the 2K counter Hiyori to grab my top life card, replace it with Sabo, play out my 2-cost Sabo from hand, and that will be 4 Dawn altogether so far. And that will allow me to fix my hand a little bit, attach 2 Dawn, so we're at 6 Dawn used for the turn, to my leader, replace my life, put another card in there, like maybe another Sabo in this situation, play out my Sabo from hand, fix my hand again. I'll have 1 life left, and I'll still have, I think, 2 Dawn left for the turn. So I could just swing for 7 at face, or however much that ended up being. Okay, so that is something you need to really consider when playing this deck. Okay, so right here, I know I have to attach 2 to my leader. I'm going to play out Hiyori. I think I actually did the correct play this time. Play the Sabo into life, cheat it out with the character's effect. I'm going to fix my hand, trash those 2 cards that are bricks in hand. I'm going to trash a card from hand with my leader's effect to put 2 cards back into there. My bottom card, it needs to be a card I'm not worried about losing because it's just a life buffer, so I can take one of these massive hits. So now, 11 at face. That's right, we're not going for board. Remember, guys, we have a game plan. We're a 9,000 power leader. These other, nothing else matters. Okay, so he's swinging 10 here. I think there's a reason to 2K counter out. Yeah, 2K counter out is the right call here. Now, this one I could just use a blocker on, or I could try to counter out of it. There's a few options here. Or just let it go. That's another option, right? That's why we had that life buffer. Because now, look at my board. I have some big attacks coming in next turn. Okay, swinging for 9 there. I think I might... Yeah, I'll say I might use a... no. I'll say using a blocker there would have been crazy. All right, here we go. I think in this situation, I decided to just go for game. We're going to go 7 at face. Okay, he's giving me a 2K, 1K. We're going to go 7 more at face. Actually, I might go 9. Might as well. Yep, swing 9 at face because that was a 2K, 1K he just gave me. Then he just gave me that effect. I'm going to trash a card and do this the right way. Now, I don't get a... Oh, no, excuse me, I do have an ace. I do have an ace in my trash already. I was going to say, I don't even have an ace. I'm just dead. But no, we're going to play out the ace. We're going to swing for 9 from him. Hang on. Sorry, guys. Slowly but surely. There we go. Swing 9. That should get his last life card. And then we'll swing for 9 more. Okay. And we had it. So probably, I don't know. That was a little risky the way we did it there, but it ended up paying off then and ended up working out. Okay, we got a few more. I think we got 2 more games left. We got green-black Perona or black-green Perona. Let me go 2x speed here. Let me make sure everything's still good over here. Yep. All right, we're doing just fine. Okay, so early on, I'm going to use the event. I'm going to set my hand as best as I can. I have Gecko Moria in my opening hand. That feels really good. That makes me, see, whenever you do your searches, that was a Makino. That wasn't even a search. But Makino there was fine because it showed me what was coming up. But whenever you're doing your searches in this deck, if you start going over your Gecko Morias, you're done for. You know what I mean? Because Gecko Moria is a big part of winning this game. Now, this Perona list is a little bit sketchy, but hey, I love seeing the spice. I like seeing all these different new decks, these new different ideas. That's the best part about the sim, right, is trying new things out. Swinging 5 into me is a little crazy. It's like, okay, I take my time and consider blocking it there, like not literally, but to my opponent, I'm trying to appear like, oh, that was a very tough decision. Should I counter out of this or not? And then I finally take it. So that way it's like, okay, maybe they'll attack into me again next turn. Because that is what you want. That is what you're going for with this list. Double Garp search, we get double Sabo. We'll take it every single time. Now from here, I'm going to swing 8 at leader, try to start whittling their hand down or their life or both. And let's see what they do. They should take this, because they would go down to 1 card in hand otherwise, or 0 if it was like a 2K and double 1K. All right, let's see what happens. By all means, like I said, if you want to attack into me, I will not be upset, because look at my hand. My hand is absolutely set up for success. Okay, pop a Garp with that. I don't care whatsoever about that Absalom. Swing in for 5, swing in for 6. I will take both. Thank you very much. You know, if he decides to. Or swing for 6, swing for 7. He did that in the wrong order. It should have been swing 7, swing 6. But I don't think this guy knows. And this will happen when you're playing locally. You're going to play against people who have no idea what your game plan is, what you're doing. Okay, I have 7 Dawn this turn. Kind of a weird turn, but I think we're going to be all right. We're going to trash a Sabo from hand. We're going to add this other Sabo from hand and from the new trash card into our life. We're going to play out Sabo, fix our hand a little bit, draw 2, trash 2. We'll trash the Luffy, trash the other Luffy, and we'll play out another Sabo. We'll go up to 9,000 power for the turn, and guess what? We're not going at Ryuma, we're going at face, because we're a 9,000 power leader, and we have a 6k blocker and a 6k blocker. Neither can be KO'd. Yes, they can tap down one of our characters technically. It is Perona. Like, they can find a way to do it. But then we have another blocker. And then how do they swing for 9? They have to invest Dawn to do these things, right? These things cost Dawn to do them. Nothing is free in this game. All right. And, my opponent is thinking long and hard about this. And what they decide is, okay, well, let's just bunker down. Let's just bunker up, or however you want to say that. It's like, dude, that is not how this list works. Now, one thing that's important to notice. Next turn, I will only be on 9 Dawn. So I can't do the Gecko Moria play here. I have to wait one more turn to do the Gecko Moria play. Now, fortunately, I did just draw a Sabo. So what we're going to do here... Hang on one second. We gotta let this play out. I think I'm gonna have to go to 7,000 power life, 7,000 in life, and then from there. Oh, I was gonna say that was dangerous. I need to use that Luffy here. Now trash a card. I gotta trash another 2K counter. It feels bad, and I only had 1 card to even put in my life, but I still need to go to 7,000 power this turn and swing for 9. It's just what I have to do. But I do have 3 blockers, and I do have 3 2K counters in hand. I'm at 7,000 power life. This was a less than ideal game as far as like the cards that I got. He hits me with a Perona. I trash one of my Gecko Morias because I have 2 of them. I only need 1, and I need all of these counters this turn. Swing there. I'll just give you a Sabo. I'm fine with that. And now I should be okay. Now I have kind of like stabilized. I'm on a 10 Dawn turn. I'll trash a card from my hand. And end up put the Sabo and then the Luffy on top. Play out Gecko Moria, grab the 2 cards that I need for my trash, replacing the Garp, and now we're back in it, guys. We're back in it, boys. We're just fine. I'm going to use that that Luffy immediately to pop one of his cards so I can draw a card. That was the whole purpose of that. Now, swing 11 at face, your turn. And next turn, I kind of have to go for broke, right? I have to go all in next turn, but that's a lot of 6k attacks on the board, a 9k, and then my leader. So I can just with a 3 Dawn investment, with only 3 Dawn, I can swing for 7 3 times. He's going to swing 9 into 9. No, here's a 1K. That won't do. You know what I mean? That simply will not suffice. Okay, let's see what else he has here. I think he has 1 more potential attack. He grabs... Okay, he did a negative hollow there. Interesting. Making me trash a card. Very annoying. And it is at random, but it doesn't matter. Swing 9 at face. There's 1 of your cards. Now we're going to swing 7 3 times. 2K, 1K, 1K, 1K. So we know this is going to be met with a blocker. And, okay, excuse me, he had a 0 cost. He had the event. That was a nice bluff there. Swing for 6 and swing for 5. GG. Winning in class. Winning on a 5K attack. We'll take it every time. All right. Last but not least, we have Black Yellow Luffy versus Red Purple Vivi. Nefeltari Vivi. 2x speed. We're good to go. Yeah, this is probably going to be a pretty long video, guys. But hey, this is a very, very fun deck to play. This is one of those leaders that's just, it's very complicated, and there's a lot of different mistakes that can happen over the course of a game. And I don't like calling them mistakes, but at least inaccuracies, and sometimes even blunders. Okay, here we go. The Nefeltari Vivi is just trying to put down some blockers. This is a very interesting strategy, and I do like that. Next time I put together a Nefeltari Vivi deck, I will keep this strategy in mind. Because just fill out the board early with these cards you don't care about losing, just to slow your opponent down, so you can make it into the late game where you just drop nothing but bosses after boss, boss after boss after boss. Okay, so my opponent's turn. They're on 6 Dawn. They're going to play out an Edward Weevil. Very solid. It's going to draw them another card. and they gave it rush, drawing them another card, swinging for 6, but I do want to start losing life, so I do appreciate them swinging at me. Okay. Always be thinking of how you can get down to 1 life and then manipulate that 1 life to turn it into a, you know, the play where you go 9,000 power and 1 life left. Always be considering that. Okay, Hiyori there. I set my top life card. I don't remember what I set it to. Did I, let me see real quick. I'm sorry, guys. 1, 2. I set it to a... Oh, I played out the Luffy with it. Sorry, guys. Okay, so it was the Luffy. That way I could pop his 4-cost guy, swing for 9. Let's see what he does here. He's got so many cards in hand, I'm surprised he doesn't just counter out. And he does. And he does counter out. And I do agree with that. You know, because, I mean, you got to use your cards at some point, right? And if you're just going to wait till later in the game when you have no life left, now I can just go super wide against you. Swing for 8 into 7. I will absolutely take that. And now we're in a situation where Flampe is absolutely massive. So understand this real quick, guys. Since we're on the last game, I do want to make this last point here. Playing out Flampe early in the game can sometimes be a mistake, okay? Playing out Flampe early can be a mistake a lot of times. But playing out Flampe when you have 1 life left to draw those 2 cards and then like fix your hand one last time before you go into full-on, you know, life cycle mode is very, very relevant. It's very, very important, okay? All right, here we go. So now I still have, you know, I still have 8 Dawn left to work with here. I'm gonna use my leader effect, play out this Luffy, popping that Weevil, play out this Sabo, draw 2 trash 2, fixing my hand, get rid of these aces. Oh, I do get rid of one of my Sabos just in case he has a pudding. That was deliberate. That was deliberate. I have a lot of cards in my hand, and I want to have my cards in the trash that I need. And for situations like that, Gravity Blade, Raging Tiger, you hate to see it. So right here, I'm really considering dropping the Kuzan. But I'm like, you know what? I need to gain a life. It's too dangerous to play now. I need to gain a life. Okay, I do that. Oh, I was going to say I thought I did it in the wrong order. But nope, we're good. We're going to play out this Luffy, popping whatever character we can on the board because I don't want him to be able to bottom deck that card. I want to keep drawing cards and trashing cards. I trash my ace and I trash my Sabo to protect them from pudding. Okay, do you understand what's going on there? I don't want him to putting my cards away and then I don't have access to them anymore. I swing for 12, I play out the ace, and now what does my opponent do? They're in a very rough situation. I still can't find my Gecko Morias, by the way, so it's not like this game's just over. He hits me with it. Okay, pause. Okay, he just gives up there, unfortunately, and I don't know why. I'm looking at the cards in his hand. Yeah, I mean, the guy still had gas. Like, the guy still had gas left, but it's going to get to a point, you know, soon where it's just like, okay, you know, and I will say this. There's probably a reason for me, like, at some point here, to actually only gain 1 life, or excuse me, gain 2 life, but only take one of them to sit at 1 life for the turn, so I could try to establish a Kuzan on the following turn behind, like, whatever blocker I might established, you know, whatever. Especially since there's no cards on my opponent's board. But they did kind of prematurely give up there, but it is what it is. All right, that's it, guys, for those. Let me show you guys the deck list that I was running. Okay, here we go. Here it is. This is the list. Let me move my face real quick. I think this list is pretty much identical to what the guy was running on that won the tournament. I called it Luffy Ship for like Luffy Championship deck. Yeah, this is it. This is the list I was running. And it's just a actual copy. Like I just straight net decked, or however you want to say it, to run what that guy was running. Now, I think towards the end, I may have taken out some of these cards. Like, I did not like the Emporio Ivankov, guys. That's just me personally. If you like it, by all means, say what, you know, say how good it's been in the comment section below for you. But I think the other list that I was messing around with in these videos, I could be wrong, but I think it's just straight up this list right here. Yeah, I think this is my most current version of the list. And the only reason I'm keeping Kuzan in there, hear me out, the only reason that I'm keeping in Kuzan is because I think the card is that important against certain matchups like Bonnie. If Jewelry Bonnie, which is a tough matchup, if Jewelry Bonnie can, you know, set a 9-cost Zoro down, you're going to be in trouble. And what they're probably going to do, I think a good Bonnie player will set Zoro, right? So they'll set down Zoro right on turn 9, right? Or their 9 Dawn turn, whatever that means. They'll set down on their 9 or 10 Dawn turn, they will just plop down Zoro and say, okay, it's your turn, go ahead. And they'll try to OTK you. They'll try to 1-turn KO you. But if you follow up the next turn, and remember, like I said, they're probably not going to be attacking at life at all, so that way they can't actually, you know, play around your leader effect. Okay, no problem. That following turn for you, drop down Kuzan and say, go ahead, start swinging at my life now, because now you can actually get around some of the other attacks they try to swing out with, and you'll be able to start popping his character on the following turn with cards like Luffy, or with cards like Lightning Bolt if you're running that, or whatever you're running. So really, really interesting stuff here. I'm not going to go into too much detail, guys, because we did already talk about it. And guys, this is the Black Yellow Luffy list. This is it. What you're seeing right here, and the other one that I showed from the tournament, this is essentially what the deck is. And ever since OP-07, excuse me, sorry guys, OP-07 is what gave us access to this Luffy. And without this Luffy, the deck is not the same, okay? Because I think I even have on here the pre-list that I was running. I believe this is it. Yeah, this is the list I was kind of stuck with before EB01 even hit. Like, even before EB01 when we didn't have Flampe, notice I was running Khalifa. This just gets replaced with Flampe. And then everything else is pretty much the same. Running the Thunderbolt. I choose to run the Thunderbolts over the Sabos, but the Sabo has a reason to run it too. It's going to be up to you. This was the pre-list. But after that, okay, after the pre-list, once we got OP-07, I do think that this is the way to go. And this is straight from the list that went 14-1 across 3 different flagships. Won 2 of them and made it to the finals of the other. This is probably the peak version of the list, at least in my personal opinion. And I just removed the Luffy so it all fits on 2 rows. All right, guys, that's it. That is the full wrap-up of Luffy. From here, we are going to be... Actually, I will say one more thing before we move over to the art critique. Once I'm done with this video, you know, now that I'm done with this video, I should say it like that, I will probably pursuing a different direction for Black Yellow Luffy entirely, moving away from the life combo shenanigans. Because Black Yellow is just a strong color, and there are so many very solid 5-cost black and yellow cards. Like Black Yellow and Black Yellow 5-cost cards, there's plenty of them. So it's almost like, why not just try to make a Black Yellow Luffy deck that just plays good cards, and it just gains life when it's about to lose. Like, okay, I'm down to 0 life. Okay, I'll attach 2 to my leader and just gain 2 life, and I still have my whole board. You know what I mean? I don't know, it's something I'll be messing with. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below, but that is probably my next path with Black Yellow. This version of the deck is absolutely fine. Like I said, this is probably peak S-tier level Black Yellow Luffy, especially in OP-07. And that's one more thing I'll say is going into OP-08, there's not a whole lot of cards that you can put into the deck to help it out. One card that I would suggest in OP-08 is the new Bonnie card from Yellow. It's a 3-cost Bonnie. This might be worth messing around with, maybe in the place of Emporio Ivankov, because they're both 3-cost cards. They're both 1k counters. Now, Emporio Ivankov is a blocker. That is worth noting, and it does mess with your top life cards, but this allows you to start drawing 2 and trashing 1, you know, starting to fill up your trash, fix your hand in different ways. This will be something to at least, like, kind of mess around with, I think. At least in my opinion, I think it'd be kind of interesting, but it's up to you. But we'll have to see. There's not a whole lot. Let me see something real quick. If I type in, hang on, let me clear out Yellow first. If I type in 08, it should bring up all the stuff from OP-08, and then a few cards that have 08 in the very end of their number. But yeah, like Nami, there are some cards in OP-08 worth, you know, messing with. Let me put my glasses back on, because there are just really solid cards. And these are all 5-cost cards, by the way. So maybe moving forward with Black Yellow Luffy, because I do think it loses a little bit of steam in OP-08 because Red Purple Law just becomes so strong with the new Black Maria card and the new Pudding card. But guys, maybe there's becomes a reason to start running something like S-Snake, Nami's, Bonnie's, some of this Egghead stuff that you actually can run, you know, outside of Vegapunk. Because some of these cards are very solid, guys. They're very strong. And look at this. Nami and S-Snake, where is she? These are both 5-cost cards. So if you just need to gain life with the leader's effect, you can. Now, you'll have no way of cheating them into play, but who knows? Maybe in that situation, you start running cards like Viola and start turning them face up, right? There are ways to turn your life cards face up if they're face down, you know, to help your characters, or, you know, to help out the leader effect. Okay, let me look in Black. I don't think there was as much. Let me see. I can't actually remember, to be honest. For 08. All right, I don't know why it's showing like every single card. But here's another 5-cost card, right? Because remember, the leader effect, dadgummit, let me, hang on one second, guys. For the leader effect, I'm just going to explain it. It doesn't have to be one of the 3 brothers. It just has to be a 5-cost character card. And it has to be exactly 5 cost. So, here's a new card from OP-08 that might be worth messing around with, right? Who's who? There's a few others as well. Let me see. I think there's another 5-cost card. It's Navy. It's T-Bone. But then there's 5-cost Satori. That's a 2K. There's 12 2K counters right there, right? Across T-Bone, Who's Who, and Satori. That is 3, you know, 5-cost 2K counters that you can run, that you could actually start recycling with your leader's effect. I think it's something to mess with. I'm not saying it'll be good. We'll have to see, right? That's all I'm saying, is we'll just have to see how things go in the future. But I do like that idea. And another card someone brought to my attention just recently in the Discord. Hey, if you're not on the Discord, guys, hop in there, hang out with us. We talk about a lot of theory crafting in there. But they brought this card to my attention. Look at this card, guys. It's from ST-08. It's a 2-cost card that I thought was absolutely terrible when it first came out, because it says you may add the top card of your life to your hand. Well, why would I ever want to do that? Well, with Black Yellow Luffy, if you're on 1 life, you might want to do that. And now I can -7 to the cost of a character for the turn. Triggers, whatever, add up to 1 black character card with the cost of 2 or less from your trash to your hand. That's whatever. We don't have any way to utilize that in the current version of the deck, but maybe we find a way to implement that, later. Maybe with 2K counters or something. We'll have to figure it out. But yeah, that's about it, guys. That's all I really wanted to say. Not much more to say with this stuff. But yeah. And if you guys have anything, or if I missed anything, if you want to add anything, please put it down in the comment section below. I love hearing what you guys have to say about this stuff. All right, now, moving on to the art critique. We got one of my personal favorites here. We've got Smoker. This is a the composition is kind of whatever in this one. It's just fine. Not a whole lot to talk about there, but the color palette is something to talk about. Let me go green with this color real quick, make it pop. Actually, let me try like an orange. That'll probably be a little more contrasty, and we'll make it thicker. So with this one, like the contrast that like my eye is immediately drawn to is like there's like a pincer type of thing going on. Notice it right here and here. Smoker is closing in on the area, right? He's kind of attacking inward like this. Like you see how it's sloping in this direction. There's motion. Of course, this is for me, like I said, the main thing about this piece is the colors. The execution's fine. It looks great. Really nice line work. Yeah, the line work is actually incredible. The line work's really, really good. But the main thing that I'm actually looking at is these colors right here. The teals, like it's almost soft, right? It almost looks soft, but we know that Smoker, he's going to be able to turn into smoke, right? We see the smoke over here. That's oh, sorry guys, spoiler warning if you haven't seen any One Piece at all, right? Because this is like one of the this character goes way back, but this is the colors for me. Just take it away. They take me away. I'm just looking at it like, wow, I love these teals, into these greens, into these blues, the sea foam, like all those different colors there. The hand is interesting. That they do a very good job with the hand. The thumb is very pronounced down there, and he's doing some kind of shape. I don't know if that's like has to do with his devil fruit or what, but really cool stuff there with the hand. That's really well drawn, and the eyes are intense. He's got the 3/4 profile there. So notice it's not straight on. It's not to the side. It is 3/4 profile. And his eyes, they're looking at you, right? Like, or at the viewer, right? And he's got that furrowed brow. He's frustrated. He's fighting. Like I said, there's this pincer formation with the composition. Shoulders are broad. They're cutting. One thing I see a lot in these anime art pieces, right? These cards, is you'll see one hand is always poking out at the viewer, and the other hand is cocked way back here to show the illusion of depth, right? So there's some foreshortening going on. The hand up front is very large, the hand far away is very small, and that's what brings the whole piece together. He's cutting into the foreground, he's making it personal, he's intimidating the viewer in that way, and this is also just a really awesome card. I do absolutely love this. This was another card, like I said, I've said it in the past, when I first got into One Piece, the ST-06 starter deck had just come out. I started playing the game during OP-02, and when this starter deck came out, that's what made me fully take the bait. I was like, oh, I'm in. This is so cool. Black was like my favorite color in Magic the Gathering. I liked black and white, to be honest. I liked both of those colors, but black was like one of my absolute favorite colors. It's what I always wear. Like black's like my favorite color in general. Black, white, and gold. That's my theme, right? So when I saw black coming out in One Piece, I was like, okay, maybe I actually will give this game a try. I wish I'd gotten into it a little bit earlier, but at the same time, I didn't really know about it until OP-02. And once I saw the ST-06 starter decks, I was all in. I didn't care how bad they were, because I had, of course I was reading stuff. People were making their own opinions at that time. It didn't matter to me. I had to get in. I was like, oh, this is me. This is too cool. Right, guys. Sorry, that was, we had a little bit of art critique there. It was almost more of a story time, but you get what you get. It is what it is, right? Some of these compositions are a little more interesting than others, and some of them, there's not a whole lot to talk about other than just, you know, looking at it. And well, I don't know, there's always a lot to talk about. I shouldn't say that. There's always a lot to talk about, but that's the main thing I wanted to mention. All right, I'm done, guys. Let me put up the Patreon page here. Playmats first. Thank you guys so much for everyone who buys playmats. The VV Pirates playmat supporters. Thank you guys so much. I hope y'all are enjoying your playmats. People have been showing the pictures of their playmats on the Discord, and I've been really enjoying seeing that. You know, and a lot of people even winning on them already. You know, it's an awesome feeling. I'm really happy that you guys have gotten them, and I'm happy y'all are doing well with them. And then also a big shout out to all my the VV Pirates Patreon page over here. All these guys who help me out, who go above and beyond. They're just literally giving me money just to help me out for no other reason. They're not getting a mat for it. They're not getting anything special. They're just doing it to help me out. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. All right, guys, I'm done. Finally, this was a longer video than normal. Yeah, we're at about an hour and 20 minutes. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please do not forget to like and subscribe if you have not already. And until next time, guys, peace.